Hey, this is Rick from Hiking Emergency Beacon, and I am out here this time to talk to you about HuntView. I like HuntView, and I got it for several reasons. The first one is for Mike and Rick Outdoors. You know, that's my other channel with Mike, and he's a buddy of mine. And we do a lot of outdoor activities together, hunting, fishing. He hunts mostly on his own, but we do some together. And a lot of fishing. We have ATVs and then camping. And there's a different focus for the HuntView on that channel with Mike and Rick Outdoors than there is here. But what I like about it for Hiking Emergency Beacon and for people who may do a lot of hiking, maybe it's rock climbing or other outdoor adventures, you know, you may be kayaking, mountain biking, and there's a whole lot of reasons to use satellite communicators or messengers. When Mike and I are out, or I'm out by myself, the big example for me is when we are out for whatever reason, or I'm out by myself and I'm trying to find a place to camp, because we do a lot of rural camping. We don't like to camp in campgrounds. And so we're out, and in Colorado, if you know anything about it here, there's a lot of public land, and then there's the private land. But when you're way out, there's BLM land, there's Forest Service land, there's state land, and the private land, and there's all kinds of different lands. And you're out, and and I've seen this before real recently, and you're traveling out and you think you're on public land and you want to camp, and there's no fences up and there's no signs up. Well, you might be on private land. And I really like the HuntView for that reason. The parcels, where they show the parcels, it really clears things up, because on a hike that I went on with my son and my daughter and my nephew, I was seeing these places out here where there was people camping, and then a little bit beyond that, there's definitely private land, and beyond that, people camping, and I'm confused, and I'm thinking, where's the boundary? Now, it's easy to define a boundary if there's a fence, but if there's not, you got a problem. What I have here is I'm on Dawson's Butte Open Space Trail again, but the boundaries are on. Now, the first thing I'll show you here is I'm going to turn, and right behind me, Dawson's Butte Open Space Trail is a large area with trails, but there's an area in the middle that's still private. And they make agreements. You know, maybe the people who own it want to live there until they pass on, or you know, whatever, or they decide to move. But this, I'm going to show you real quick, and it's not that I want you to see it on the screen because it's really hard, but I'm turning this way because the parcel of land is right back over here. Now I'm going to arrow over it with my arrow, and it says Douglas County Board, but if I hit enter, it says Douglas County Board of Commissioners, Dawson's Butte Land, Colorado. It gives you information. Now, it's asked me if I want to go and hike to it, but that's private land. I'm going to give you another example, though. Over here on the other side, there's definitely private land. And this is all public information. And so the owners show up on it. So this one says George Chap, and maybe it cuts it off, but it says Chap, but it might be, his last name might be longer than that. Well, here's one thing I just want to jump into real quick before I show you any more examples. I was looking at Natural Atlas and their public land boundaries, and it's great and I love it, and there's other apps that do this, and if you can see the boundaries, you can get some general information, but it's still somewhat general, and sometimes it doesn't work as well. And I saw one video where somebody was clicking on the public lands, but it was clicking on a contour. Well, this doesn't do that. You don't even have to click on it or hit enter. If you just your arrow goes over it, it automatically at the top shows who owns that land. If it's a person or the Douglas County or the Forest Service. And the HuntView is not cheap. It's about $90 per state, roughly. It changes a little bit here and there. I think Texas is broken into two. And I was actually complaining to Garmin about this on the phone. And they were like, we give a lot more information on our HuntView than you get on other boundaries. And it's true. I was at my house and I was arrowing over and I was like, well, there's my house. And they gave my name, gave all the information. The people right next door gave their name. I want to show you something, but I don't want to arrow all the way across the state. But in Oklahoma, where Mike hunts, you can get access to hunt on people's property. And that's what Mike does. He'll find out who owns the property, and he'll contact them and basically get a deer lease where he has the authority or the right to go on their property and hunt. And I could show you that, but I might get shots of that back at the house, but I have to arrow all the way across the state, 2 states, and I don't want to do it at the moment. But let's get back to really what's going on here. I really love being able to see the boundaries. Now, I'm going to show you 2 different areas here real quick. And I am going to arrow around. What I'm going to do is I'm going to zoom out. It's kind of interesting there. It did show a contour, 6,800 feet, about 7,000 feet here. So I'm going to go, and everything you're seeing right now is a topo. I have the aerial imagery, and I'm going to show you that in a minute. But I'm going to zoom out to 11 Mile Canyon. There's a reason why I didn't zoom all the way to Oklahoma, and because it's using satellite right here, it hangs up a bit and you have to wait. So keep that in mind when you're using HuntView and a satellite communicator and you're not in cell service. It might take a little longer. Okay, so what you're going to see right here is over by 11 Mile Canyon, there's these locations, what I was just telling you about. I'm driving up there and I'm seeing campsites and I'm seeing private property over and over. And what I saw, and you're going to see here on the screenshots, is that there's boundaries. Part of it is national forest. Part of it is private land. Now you know with a great deal of certainty what's public, so you're not trespassing. Now over at Miramonte Reservoir, that's a big hunting area over there. And when we were out fishing in November, there was a lot of hunters out doing elk hunting, and I guess mule deer also. And again, it's the same thing out there. I was amazed at how the forests and the BLM and the private land are just all intermixed amongst each other. And you got to be very careful. What I've seen out there is if it's private land, they do a good job of fencing their property and putting the signs up. But that's not always the case. And you want to be very careful. So this is a great feature to have for the HuntView to make sure that, one, you know you're on public land. Number 2, if you get a certain area that you can hunt in here in Colorado, it lists those. So you can see what area, and they call it something else. I'll put it up on the screen because I can't remember at this moment. But they give you certain places that you can hunt, and you get drawn for them. Or you can put in for them and get drawn for them. So again, if you want to make sure you're in the area that you're supposed to hunt, you can see it on this. You know, it does cost a lot of money, and $90 a state can, you know, get you poor pretty quick. But if you're doing a lot of hunting in a particular state, man, that's worth it. I originally, when I was giving Garmin grief, I was like, man, I can get that stuff for free somewhere else. They actually admitted to me and said, yes, if you just want general information, yeah, you can get us on different apps. Go ahead, do it. Don't worry about it. But they're giving more information. I didn't realize how much more information they were giving. And that $90 is worth it. So before we wrap up here, I just want to say that there is the topo version of it. But with that $90, you get the aerial also. So you can again see features, canyons, mountains, and forests and all that. So again, screenshots. It's a really great map and service they provide. I think it's really worth it, but it's really only worth it for certain people that want more detailed information or are hunters and need to know where they're hunting at. And I'm going to do more videos on this in the future as I learn more about it. But I just wanted to give you a heads up. It really is valuable. It's really worth the money, but it depends on what you use it for. So I hope you like this video. So please like, subscribe, share, and turn on notifications so you'll be alerted as soon as I put out new videos. And I'll see you back out here on Hiking Emergency Beacon in the next video.